Firstly, general settings. Now the site name is probably the most obvious of the settings, however there are a number of different places it can be used, so it's worth taking a minute to assess your site name and just see if it's doing what you want it to do. So before we actually change it, let's take a look at one of the cases where the site name is used. If I jump back into Woven and Tufted, you can see that at the top here I've got a tab heading, and you can see the site name is here, and again when I roll over it, it says Home Demo Site. If I jump into the shop, you can see the page name now changes to Shop Demo Site. So I think we can probably guess that the demo site is the page name. So let's take a look at changing this now. If I change it to Woven and Tufted and click the green button to save the changes, jump back into the website and refresh it, you can see that now the site name has changed to Woven and Tufted. I'm still on the shop page, however I can jump back into Home and the page name has stayed as Woven and Tufted. Company details are where you can set the name and address as well as VAT numbers and your registration numbers for your company. If you do have a logo and it's uploaded to Yetti, you can put the full URL into this box here to provide an easy link to that graphic. Outgoing email settings are worth just taking a second to get right. They're always used when you are sending an email to someone else. The outgoing email name is what will appear in the receiver's email clients. So at the minute, if I received an email as a client from Woven and Tufted, the email would appear to be received from Demo Site, and the email address would be no-reply@yetti.co.uk. So I'm going to change this to Woven and Tufted, and I'm also going to change this to no-reply@wovenandtufted.co.uk. Now, just as an aside, if you are an individual and you have a website with a name, for instance, if I was Alex Ryans and my company was called Alex Ryans Holding, I would probably want to set my outgoing email name to Alex Ryans rather than Alex Ryans Holding. Now, the reason for this is that all email clients work in different ways, and some are a little bit more strict than others. And if an email client detects that an email has come from a company, it might not always trust that company, and it might automatically shift your email into the email client's spam folder. Now, there's not much you can do to get around this. However, one way of at least helping an email client to decide whether it should put your email in a user's spam folder or in their inbox, which is generally where you want it to go, is to have an actual person's name in the outgoing email name. This helps to personalize your email, and it also makes it a little less generic. So if an email client is looking through emails and it thinks this email has come from a person, it's more likely to send it into the inbox rather than moving it to the spam folder. It's a consideration that you have to take into account, although, as I say, there's not always enough you can do to ensure 100% that an email client is going to put your email into a user's inbox. Comment settings then allow unregistered comments on your website. And what this means is you may have two different classes of user on your website. You might have users that have accounts and that can log in, or you might have users that don't have accounts and who can't log in. Now, there are two ways of getting around comments. You can restrict comments to people who have accounts and who are logged in, so only people who are logged into your website will be able to comment, or you can extend the comment functionality to all users regardless of whether they have accounts and whether they're logged in. The comment sections panel allows you to turn on or off that functionality. By default, unregistered comments is unticked, so people who aren't registered with your site and who aren't logged in won't be able to comment on any blog articles, for instance. Ticking this box will allow unregistered comments, meaning anyone, regardless of their status on your website, will be able to comment. Now, there are a couple of pros and cons to this. Obviously, if a user has registered and you've approved their registration, then that generally would suggest that you trust them and that you are allowing them access to your website at a certain level that maybe everyone, Joe Blogs off the street, wouldn't have. Maybe a members area or a VIP section or just a general account section, for instance. If you only want those trusted people to comment on your website, for instance, you might believe that they are less likely to spam your website via the comments or put obscene or irrelevant information in comment boxes, then leave this box unticked. If you want to allow everyone to comment on your website, then tick this to allow all those unregistered comments. By default, Yetti does not allow any comments on your website without them being approved by yourself. Obviously, this goes some way to alleviating the problem of obscene or irrelevant or spam comments. And it's something to mention that there is that extra level of security there if you want to use it.